up a little bit. How's everybody doing today? How's you guys doing? I don't know who's in the room. I just was on TikTok for a little while, for 30, 40 minutes, I guess. How's everybody doing today? Thanks for coming by. So I want to talk a little bit about what's going on in our country and a mandate. And I want to point out today a few different mandates. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. I want to point out today a few different mandates that we all are aware of, but maybe you're not quite aware that it was a mandate that ruined our country. A mandate that ruined our country. And so when you go down the history of time and you take a look, and if you look, this is the prison population here, and you can see that we talked about the prison industry pretty in depth previously on a different YouTube live, and now we're taking a look at the prison industry in kind of a different perspective, in understanding that excuse me, I'm sorry, I had a little burp there. The way our country was ruined was by government mandate. And it's important that we all understand that. Who's in the room? Can you guys just pop a comment over here just so I know? I know there's only a few people in the room on YouTube Live, but that's okay because when I drop the video, lots and lots of people will see it. And I just real quick, if you guys are not aware, Disorderly Product News had a diabetic episode earlier today, and I didn't get all the details. He is okay. I did text him. We text back and forth a little bit. But Disorderly Product News had a real health crisis, a real health scare today. And so all of my prayers and my best wishes go out to you, Disorderly, and your family. And I hope that you have a full recovery from the diabetic episode that you had today. And I already advised him about Jason Fung, and I hope that... Let me drink some water. I keep choking on. I keep choking on my own throat here, and so let me drink a little bit of water here, so that I really want to get into understanding how we lost our freedom, and I want to get into those ideas right now. I'm doing that one meal a day thing, and I had 2 cheeseburgers, French fries, and a chocolate shake for my meal today. Thank you, Donna. I appreciate that. So the way we lose freedom, and then just to cap off Disorderly, God bless you, brother. I hope that you're okay. I've watched Disorderly since he posted his first video, and I'm still a fan of Disorderly Product News. Even though only a few people are going to be in this live session, a few hundred people will see this, maybe 1,000. And so I hope you guys go over and follow Disorderly Product News and watch his videos because he's really intelligent. And so now the first mandate in our country, of course, is going to be the abolishing of slavery with the 13th Amendment, but that's going to start with an executive order called the Emancipation Proclamation. Now, the Emancipation Proclamation is a mandate that is put forth by Abraham Lincoln, and that is going to begin the prison industry. Now, even though the Emancipation Proclamation is an executive order and it's a mandate pushed forward by the executive branch of the government, the results of a mandate are that the prison industry, we went over the prison industry in great detail in a different video, but the prison industry, there's going to be a big pop-up of prisons created in 1866 and 1867, as you're well aware. And so then as we move forward here, you're going to look here and you see this is the prison industry, and then it's going to pop again right here. And what is this mandate? This is the Volstead Act. The Volstead Act, also commonly called Prohibition. The Volstead Act is transitioned in the exact legislation of the 18th Amendment that creates prohibition is created from the Volstead Act of 1919. So just so you know, prohibition is passed in 1919, but enacted in 1920. That means for an entire year, the people of America had a chance to go out in the streets and revolt with everything they had, and they didn't. They did not. And so that's what you're looking at today, is the Volstead Act that was passed how many years ago? 100 years ago. 101 years ago. And so instead of the people openly revolting, like I keep telling people, do not comply. Do not comply. Stop complying. This will continue to last as long as you continue to comply. I no longer comply. I do not comply. As a matter of fact, I was asked to leave a store yesterday here in California because I'm not going to comply. I'm no longer going to comply because I know the history of allowing mandates creates a total tyrannical state, whether it be in the name of justice to end slavery or whether it be for the Volstead Act to instill prohibition. Every time you agree to be mandated, it creates something horrible. There's been no mandate. Go back to the Christian Crusades. Go back to the Spanish Inquisition. Tell me a mandate that's ever been good for the people and I'll join you. But you can't. You absolutely cannot. And so, as we move forward right here, now this first mandate is prohibition. And what happens here? The prison industrial complex is born. Now, we had prisons going back all the way to 1800 in Philadelphia, but 1865, they get enhanced all through the South. And then here in 1920, with the Volstead Act, you're going to create the prison industrial complex. So that's why the name of this particular title of this video is Freedom or Bust. Because I want freedom or I want nothing. Listen, if this country falters and we go into some horrifically bad scene, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I'm not going to fight a bunch of people who I know don't have the education to understand that our country is based on freedom. It's based on John Locke's theory of natural law. That you are born free. That you have these rights that are inalienable, given to you by God. He actually breaks it down into divine morality. But I'm going to be a little bit more clear about that as far as modern day, because a lot of people are not specifically religious. And what I'm going to say is that John Locke's theory of natural law, that all men are created equal and that your first fundamental right is liberty, I'm going to say that that's an inalienable right by birth. You see the difference? You don't have to then necessarily instill, how you doing, Deborah? You don't necessarily have to instill the idea that it's God. You can instill that you were born a human being, and therefore, because you were born a human being, you are born with inalienable rights. John Locke just lays them out, and this government is supposed to actually instill and protect those rights. But you're born with them. Your Lockean theory says that you're born with them. And then when you go into divine morality, which is kind of another subject, it's a little bit religious, so I don't want to get lost on some religious tangent here because I'm not specifically religious. However, I think it's important. I think it's very, very important. Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, yeah, Oklahoma. Listen, I'm thinking about filing one of my lawsuits in Oklahoma. I'm just researching the federal district courts in Oklahoma now. I have found a judge in Texas who I want to file one of my federal lawsuits with. I found a judge in Virginia who I want to file my federal lawsuits with. And then if you have anything about Oklahoma, feel free to email that to me, chille@situationcreator.com, CHILLE@situationcreator.com. I will review anything you send me. It's impossible for me not to with my OCD. I can't help it. I have to read it. I have to know what you're talking about, or it'll drive me bonkers later. So now as we move forward here, now when we allow the mandate of prohibition to be pushed forward here, what's going to happen is we're going to lock up one out of every 6 people is going to either be locked up, shot, or hurt by prohibition. And this lasts not for a few minutes, but for 13 years, and our prison industry quadruples, and that's by a mandate. Give me freedom or bust. Because if we go into a tyrannical state like prohibition, I'm going to go to the Philippines, I'm going to live on the beach. I'm going to take 10 years off like the 48 Laws of Power says, know when to surrender. I may have to surrender for 10 or 15 years and come back when I'm gray. I'm already kind of going gray, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. And so prohibition is going to happen here. And then what's the next mandate? The next mandate is going to happen with the war on drugs with Richard Nixon. Am I in the wrong place here? Sorry about that. With Richard Nixon and the war on drugs, you see the bend in the prison industry right here? That's from a mandate. That's from Richard Nixon creating a mandate on drugs. That the war on drugs is a mandate, and he turns all of the government to try to battle the war on drugs, which really is a way to enhance the CIA with money and to create the for-profit prison industry just 8 years later with Ronald Reagan. And so every time we talk about a mandate or we talk about the government, doing what's best for us, throughout the history of time, there's never been anything the government's done that's best for us. Never. The best definition I ever heard of government, who did I hear this from? I'll remember as soon as I get off live. But someone said one time that government is the end of humanity. When you and I have had such a disagreement that life and death is on the line, then you call the government, because we can no longer coexist without the highest of consequences being on the line, the most dire stakes. And so government is the end of all humanity. And I don't want that to be true, but that's the best definition I've ever heard of it. Because if you are willing to call the government, then you've lost all humanity, because you and I cannot work out our differences. You and I can't come to a conclusion together. And what have we seen the mandate has done to people? You should have seen how mad they were at Big Five Sporting Goods yesterday when I wouldn't put on a mask. They were so mad. You should have seen how angry they were. They were ready to call the government on me because the government had instilled a mandate and they wanted to uphold the mandate. And remember, Congress vetoed Woodrow Wilson, who vetoed that mandate. Woodrow Wilson vetoed the Volstead Act. He said, no, we don't need prohibition. And then Congress, which is elected by the people, they overruled Woodrow Wilson. They overrode his veto. And that created a police state, prison state in America. By a mandate. You have to stop complying. You have to stop agreeing. You have to tell your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your lover, your best friend, your cousin, your dog, I will not comply anymore to your mandate. You have to be steadfast about it. You have to be confident in your feet. Know that you know the history. That you subscribing or agreeing to a mandate ruins this country. History always repeats itself. It's always cyclical. That was 1920. What year is it now? 2020. It's 100 years. Slavery was abolished in 1865. 1965 Civil Rights Act. 1964, 99 years. It's a 100-year cycle. It's a 100-year cycle. As long as you agree to a mandate, we will not be free. As long as you agree to comply to this, agree to comply to that, we will not be free. And you will continue to see other citizens take up the government mandate and want to push it through. You have to say, no, I won't do it. It doesn't matter if you already got the first one. You don't have to get the second. You don't have to get the third. It's not going to help you. It's not going to help you. How come they don't have to release their records for 55 years? So if something happens to me, we get to find out what exactly was in that 55 years later, I'll be dead. I highly doubt I live another 30 or 40 years. Not with the rate I'm going. A lot of stress, a lot of trauma, a lot of difficulty. Very stressful time in our country right now. As long as you continue to comply, this doesn't end. This doesn't end as long as you can, because as soon as you comply now, you'll comply again, and you will comply again, and you will comply again. And if you don't comply, and by the way, after the third or fourth time you get, then what? Are you still safe? Let me ask you a question. You got the stuff when you were a kid, right? Oh, you got all those things when you were a kid. You didn't have any complaints about it then, did you? How many did you get though? Did you get one or two? I only remember getting one or two as a kid at the most, right? And I didn't need a second, third, or fourth follow-up to make sure I was still protected. Funny, I had COVID in January of 2020. I haven't, knock on wood, I haven't gotten it again. How come? Because what I have in my system, according to Israel, is better than what they have in that. I have to be very careful what I say here. You know that. You know that. We have to be very careful how we behave. I'm very polite when I don't comply. Oh, no, thank you. I'm sorry. I appreciate it. Or, oh, sure, I'll take it. I put it right down there, and that's how I wear that. Now, at the sporting goods store yesterday, they were adamant that I put it over here. And I said, well, what about this guy? He's got it down like that. Are you going to kick him out too? No, only A personality people will be dealt with. And we're in this big rush to get to a non-binary human. Why is that? Why is that? Because when we strip away all of our identity, well, then we're all the same. We're just drones. We're just clones. And so as you look down the history of time, you see that a mandate here, even in good intentions, creates a prison industry. You see that a mandate here enhances an industrial prison complex. A mandate here, a war on chemicals, creates the prison industrial police state that we live in today. Because you complied. because you agreed, because you didn't want to stir up any dust. This is what we're looking at here. We're looking at history repeating itself, and we're all a part of it. We're all living through history right now. We're all living a part of it. We're watching history happen before our very eyes. And if they create an electronic verification system for your passport, we're doomed. We're going to have a Tyler Durden moment. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just remember the end of that movie. We're going to have to create a Tyler Durden moment. We'll have to. We cannot allow an electronic passport system that attaches to your bank account and attaches to your grocery store and attaches to your clothing store and attaches to your child's school. We can't allow it. And for that reason, I may be willing to go to the ends of earth. But a simple tyrannical civil war, I'm out of here. I'm leaving this country. But if we have to have that Tyler Durden moment because they create an electronic passport system, then we have to have it. Yeah, if I have to fight, I will. I don't want to. But I now carry because I have to. I have to protect my own life. I hear a lot of crazy things from people on the internet. Even though I'm not afraid, I need to take every possible precaution, right? And you should too. You should have every precaution. And by the way, when you add a carbohydrate with the fat, that holds the carbohydrate in your body for a longer period of time. I actually made a video teaching scientific nutrition. I just haven't released it yet. So I'll release it this week. Okay. I talked to my friend earlier, Resist Evil, and he said to me that this is the new normal and it's not going back. And so when I actually believed him and I realized that what he's saying is true, we're not going back. There's no going back now. We're not putting the genie back in the bottle. What I then realized is I got to get back to mission of overturning Terry versus Ohio. Because I have a purpose in life and I've got to at least try to get it done no matter what occurs. No matter if my live gets suspended on TikTok, no matter if they deleted my Instagram account, no matter how many people follow or watch what I'm doing here, it doesn't matter. What matters is the mission. And you have to be on that mission. Overturning Terry is the most important mission of our lives. There's nothing more important in this world, in our freedom or bust movement, than overturning Terry versus Ohio. There's nothing more important. Maybe second only to the war on drugs, but they work together. The war on drugs has got to go. Locking up people for chemicals is disgusting and wrong, and it has to change. Okay? I don't know what that message says. It was redacted. I'm not sure. So, listen, I have a lot of people who say hateful things to me. If I could, I wouldn't even want to subject you to what I've experienced this past month. You can't even understand it. I used to be this idea that, cancel culture and people would pile on and I would see it happen on the internet. And you don't, just like if you've never been arrested and taken to the dungeon, if you haven't been cheated by the cops, you really don't know what it's like. A friend called me 1.5 years, 2 years ago when I was a part of a social media company that that enhanced their follower count, right? And he called me and he was broken because he had 80,000 followers on Instagram and his account had been hacked and he lost his Instagram account and he was so devastated. And I said everything that you should say to someone who's had something taken from them unjustly. We got to get a felony removal program. We need a felony removal program for felons. That has to happen. And so he said, by the way, for people watching on YouTube, someone just chimed in and said they had a felony. And I talked to a gentleman earlier who printed up my t-shirts, brandedoracist.com. I have the website up now. We've raised $20,000 on brandedoracist.com. I don't get any of that money. When we get to $50,000, we can then use some of that money for the documentary, but I don't get any of that money for myself. Nope. So, but the point is we have to get a felony removal program. I was saying a second ago, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought because if I think about someone else's plight in life, then I can easily lose my own perspective because so I wouldn't want anybody to see or read the amount of hatred that I've received in this past month. You know, at first I cried a lot. There was a lot of tears because a lot of people saying things to me that I never ever in my life thought people would say to me. I mean, calling me a racist. It's just the most preposterous thing I've ever heard. But not just one people, thousands of people. And then I found out why that was being said, and I found the smoking gun, and I'm going to fry that guy in court. But just going to take his wallet, take his house. You know. Yeah, I was removing felonies. But then I got to it and I found my place again. And what I was talking about is this cancel culture idea that you should pile on to other people because you heard something they said or they said something you don't like. And so then you go to their Twitter page or you go to their Instagram page and you say, oh, Alec Baldwin, you're a real piece of shit for shooting that woman in the face. You should have checked the gun, right? I'll never do that to anybody. I don't care what they did. I don't care what they said. I don't care. I don't care. I'll never do it to another person. When you open up your messages and the first thing you see is that someone hates your guts and you don't know that person and you haven't done anything to be hated, I've never experienced what I've experienced. This, hey, how you doing, Ohio? Hey, Justice, how you doing? Good to see you, Justice. I'm so glad you come in. Justice is a supporter of mine and a good friend. We talk on the phone quite a bit. And so I just will never do that to another person. No, and you shouldn't either. And you should pass the word along. You should not jump on the bandwagon of hating somebody because you heard something they said or you read something they wrote, and so they took a screenshot of that and they said, oh, they said this about this person, and then you go to their person's page and you say the worst things to that person because you think that you're doing the right thing. You're not. You're not. And so when you get into the minutia and the detail of understanding how we got here because this is what they want. This is what they want. This is what they want. They want us to be divided. Don't you remember, I was talking to Resist Evil earlier today on the phone, and he said to me, Chili, do you remember when all the unrest happened and all the rioting happened? Do you remember the bricks appearing on the corners of the streets? You remember that? You remember that? The media picked it up for like a millisecond and then they dropped it. Okay? Do you remember that? I didn't read your comment. I couldn't see it. I don't know what you wrote. But do you remember that? Do you remember, hey, how you doing, buddy? Do you remember that? Do you remember when the bricks appeared on the sides of the road? Do you remember that? Here in LA, there was bricks that appeared in front of buildings, big stacks of bricks with no building site anywhere around. Do you remember that? Why'd that happen? How come the media didn't follow that up? Why didn't those private businesses that had security cameras outside, why didn't they release footage of showing who dropped those stacks of bricks off all around the country, everywhere there was civil unrest? Ironically, a big pallet of loose bricks appeared right in front of buildings that were made of all glass. Who did that? How come that was never followed up on? Why was that? Anybody? Do you remember? Does anybody remember? Do you remember that? Do you remember all those bricks being piled up by the sides of buildings? I do. I remember vividly. I live in LA. I live right in the epicenter of where everything was happening. That's why I started a TikTok account, you remember? I went down there, I was interviewing people about Terry versus Ohio, I was interviewing a black guy, and then some little gay wafy guy came by and said, don't talk to him, you know that he's just trying to do something bad. And then the black girl filmed me calling me a white supremacist. Isn't that ironic? The beginning of the George Floyd protests to now, I started off on TikTok being a white supremacist, and now I'm still being called a white supremacist. And don't you remember it was the police officer in Minnesota who started breaking the windows of that building, and his ex-wife called him out and said, hey, that's my ex-husband, he's a cop. Does anybody know what happened to that? Was there any follow-up story on that? The stories just died. The bricks on the side of the road and the cop who started the riot in Minnesota, those stories just went away. I never heard another word about them. I'm interested. How come they never came around again? Why'd they never come around? So, we have to get to the place together, you and I, the people who are leaders, the people who are unafraid, undaunted, where we say we're not going to comply anymore. I'm not wearing that I'm not wearing that. Politely, I'm not wearing that. Sorry, I'm not wearing that. I told the lady the other day, I said to the lady the other day, she said, do you want a mask? I said, no, I don't, no thank you. She said, oh, I have to give you a mask. I took the mask, I put it on, I said, thank you so much. And then I said, can I get a triple espresso, long shots, please? You know, okay. So I was pretty amazed. I was able to go on TikTok live tonight for about 35 minutes to an hour, and my account didn't get suspended. Yeah, and I think we're living through Project Mockingbird now. I think we're living through Project Mockingbird now. So I'm actually I have no choice but to go to the right. I'm on a mission to overturn Terry versus Ohio. There's Terry versus Ohio, and there's the prison industry right after Terry versus Ohio. Can you figure out what happened? The stick is pointing at Terry. There's Terry, and there's the prison system after Terry versus Ohio. So some people on the left have shoved me away like a rocket. And so, yeah, I'm not going to comply. I'm not going to comply. And so because they shoved me away like a rocket from the left side, and I show this to people, and I'll show it to you guys, right? If you take your fingers like this and you make a little cylinder with your finger like this, and then you put a ping pong ball or a bowling ball right there in between the cylinder, and the cylinder only goes from the left to the right. If the left pushes you, which way can you go? There's only one way for me to go to overturn Terry, to get the help I need to overturn Terry versus Ohio. Right? There's only one way I can go right now. Right. I can only go right. I can't go left. They kicked me out. Right? You see? They kicked me out of the left. They said I couldn't be there. They called me a racist. They called me a white supremacist. I have a website called Branded a Racist. I'm raising money for the legal fund and the documentary I'm making as I take these people down. And this woman makes videos about me. What she doesn't understand is the videos she makes about me are the #1 videos on her page. You silly person. That's you benefiting off of stepping on me. Someone who's not racist. Benefit is a legal term. You might want to look it up because they're watching all the videos I'm making because they know I'm coming to sue them. Benefit. Look that up. It's under tort law. Look it up. Okay? We're going to have to pass a constitutional amendment. That's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to pass a constitutional amendment. That's going to have to happen. We're going to have to pass a I call it the 28th Amendment. Yeah. You know, and the reason why, listen, I have to hire a bunch of different legal teams around the country because I have to have them accept service on my part in case I get a file for dismissal or they file a demurrer. I have to be able to respond to that quickly. And so I'm not going to have an office in Texas, an office in Virginia, an office in Utah, an office in Louisiana. But I have pinpointed some federal judges. Yeah, I'm against racism, 100%. Obviously, you know, there was the only Colombian kid in my hometown, and we adopted the only black kid. So, there was 2 black kids in my town, Joel and the other black kid, David, who was adopted by my grandparents. He's legally my uncle, but he's a year younger than me, 2 years younger than I am. So, obviously, you know, yeah, that's how they get popular. That's how they get popular. You know, that woman made a video about me the other day saying she was going to put a strap down my throat. Well, you know, I've been in the cage with world champions and they couldn't put a strap down my throat, so I don't think you're going to either. You know, so, and it's just ridiculous. It's just all ridiculous. But we have to try to stay on mission. You know, when Resist Evil earlier tonight told me on the phone, he said, Chili, this is not going away. He told me that this afternoon. I'm driving around town running errands trying to get out of town to go to Phoenix. And he said, this is not going to go away. And I immediately began to think to myself, if this isn't going to go away and there's nothing we're going to do to make this go away, then I need to get back to mission of overturning Terry. Someone says you got 6 months left to live. That's just an example here, right? What are you going to do? Go to the beach? If this current culture that we're living in today is not going to go away. And it's just going to get worse from here. Well, then you have to get back to your sense of mission. You have to get back to your sense of purpose, which mine is overturning Terry versus Ohio no matter what. And I hope you come with me, because it's the most important mission of our lives. And right next to it is the war on drugs. So Terry and the war on drugs work parallel, right next to each other. Unless we overturn the war on drugs and we overturn Terry, we'll constantly have a police state, prison state. Oh, you did? Michelle, send me that information of that popular lawyer. I wonder if it was Steve Leto with Leto's Law. I don't know. I've reached out to him a few times. I hope that it was. I just hope it was. It could have been the Pop Brothers at Law as well, because the Pop Brothers at Law are good friends of mine, and they're genuine men, and I respect them a lot, because they've been by my side the entire time this has been going on, keeping in touch with me, letting me know it's okay, letting me know that I'm gonna get through this, and it's been hard for me. It's been really hard. Without people like Justice, and without people like Resist Evil, without people like my friend Casey, people like my friend Molly, people who have literally called me up and said, "How are you doing this?" I said, "I'm not. I'm not doing. And people have jumped in who love me and support me. And I'm super grateful to those people. You have no idea. So we have to, united we have to be, and we cannot allow mandates to push us around. We can't allow mandates. We cannot go by mandates. The prohibition on alcohol and the prohibition on drugs. The prohibition on alcohol creates Carroll versus the United States. That creates exigent circumstances. That creates the exigent circumstances clause, right? That says that loss of life, hot pursuit, or to seize evidence off of you means you can get around your Bill of Rights. I've talked about this on YouTube before, so I don't want to bore you guys if it's your first time here, if it's your last time here. Or your first time here, or your second time, or 10th time here. And so that creates the exigent circumstances clause because of a mandate on prohibition. And then the war on drugs creates the industrial prison complex that is on steroids today. We have to get back together, and we have to say that we're not going to comply to these mandates. We are not going to comply to your mandate. And I'm going to say it politely today. Tomorrow I might not be polite anymore. It's getting to that point, especially here in California. I'm leaving tomorrow to go to Phoenix, but that doesn't mean that I'm not well aware that they've passed an indoor mask mandate in California. I'm literally walking outside and telling people, why are you wearing that mask outside? There's no virus out here that's going to get you. But what they did to us here in California is they inundated us with text messages telling us that we were all going to die. I'm not kidding. Okay. I'm really not kidding. They sent us dozens and dozens of text messages when the I mean, there's no other way to call it but a pandemic. I mean, remember, Anthony Fauci is the same guy who tried to approve of AIDS drugs from the Dallas Buyers Club. Has anybody seen the Dallas Buyers Club? Have you ever seen the movie The Dallas Buyers Club? The bad government official in the Dallas Buyers Club was Anthony Fauci. When those AIDS victims were trying to buy drugs from other parts of the world to try to get cheaper pharmaceuticals, the government official who was screwing them was Anthony Fauci. He was the bad guy in the Dallas Buyers Club. Did you know that? Did you know that? I've been talking for an hour straight, so forgive me. But I'm just at a place in my life personally where I'm freedom or bust. If this isn't going to get better and this is going to continue like this and there's no end in sight, then you and I are perpetuating it. You and I are allowing it. You and I are allowing this to happen because we're complying. We're complying. We're agreeing. Okay, fine, we'll do whatever you want. As long as I can go to that concert, as long as I can go to the grocery store, as long as I can get on the subway, I'll comply. It has to come to an end. Freedom or bust. We have to be that way. We have to become united in this idea that we will no longer bend. I'm no longer bending. They kicked me out of that sporting goods store. I recorded them. I have the 5-minute video. I'll post it on YouTube. I haven't posted it yet. I think I tried to post it on Instagram twice, 3 times. I tried to post it on Instagram, and when it came out all fuzzy and messed up. I couldn't understand why. I think I understand why now. They don't want me to share that I'm not complying with their mask mandate. They don't want me to share that. Yeah. So I just wanted to jump on here for a little while on YouTube because I know that I come in and out of life. And believe me, man, I'm battling depression. I'm battling it. I really am. You know, whether I like it or not, you know, when I wake up in the morning and I receive dozens of messages of hatred, you know, it kind of tosses you a little bit. It kind of tosses you a little bit. I don't want that to be true, but it does. It hurts. It hurts. And then at first I thought I could interact with these people and that maybe it would be a little better if I just showed them some sense. No. Very few people have any sense. They just want to be angry. And then you think about that and you say to yourself, well, why do so many people want to be angry? Well, look what's going on. Look what's going on. They're pissed off. You're not free anymore. You're stuck in this little tiny bubble. Here, and look what they've done in Australia. This is your area. Do you have papers to leave your area? They have that going on in Australia. Thank God for the Second Amendment. That wouldn't last here for very long. It wouldn't last. And you would see a real tyrannical state happen if they tried to do that here. Okay? You'd see a real tyrannical state happen. You would see a death state, murder state in our country if they tried to make us stay in areas, which is what they're doing over there in Australia. You can't leave your area without your papers. Do you have permission to leave your area? I mean, you should see some of these things going on. And what's really, really funny is when I first started my channel on the TikTok, when I posted a video in July that showed what it looked like in Australia, thousands and thousands of the people who subscribed to the channel said, why are you posting this, Chili? Take this down. You only talk about the truth. Why would you post conspiracy theory propaganda? Does it look like it's propaganda now? Is that what it looks like now? It looks to me like now, I was showing the truth in July, and now in December, we're seeing a total tyrannical Australia. Yeah, Agenda 2030, I've heard of it, I've read about it. So you and I as I want to say as leaders, certainly as thought leaders, 100% as thought leaders. As a thought leader, you have to explain to others. And if you can't show them the video, then I'm explaining it to them. You can no longer comply. I'm willing to be kicked out of the coffee shop. I'm willing to be kicked out of the sporting goods store. I'm willing not to go to the concert. I'm willing not to show any kind of vaccination card. I'm willing to not take the subway. I'm willing for my day to go different because I will not comply. Yesterday, my buddy's a rich Jewish guy, and he was going to buy me a really nice sleeping bag because I'm traveling the country and I need a nice sleeping bag to travel the country. And we went to the sporting goods store to go buy a sleeping bag, and I'm not going to comply. I'm not going to wear the mask. I didn't get the sleeping bag. I didn't get the sleeping bag. I don't know if any of these live comments stay, so if you guys have anything that you wanted to say that I can't read the comments very well because my eyes are terrible, and I just can't read the comments very quickly. So if you have anything you wanted to say to me, please make sure that you drop it in the comment section when this video posts, or drop it on a different video. I go through and I read all the comments. I read everybody's comment. And that's the hard part now because, yeah, Project Veritas got raided by the FBI. It's absolutely terrifying. So that's the other thing, is I always prided myself on, no matter how many messages I've gotten, that I'll read every message. No matter what, I'll always read your messages. In case someone wants some help, in case someone wants some advice, in case someone just needs to be heard. Someone says, hey man, I'm having a hard time. Can I tell you about what's going on over here in Florida? Sure, let me just hear out what you have to say. And then they feel better because there's someone who understands that if you're getting railroaded by the police, thank you, I appreciate that. If you're getting railroaded by the police, at least there's someone who understands. Often you just need someone else to tell you, I understand how you feel. And just so you know, a lot of times I do understand how you feel. It sucks. I wish I didn't understand how you felt. If I didn't understand how you felt, that would be a lot nicer. That would be a lot nicer, because then it wouldn't hurt so bad. I wouldn't feel your pain. I wouldn't have the empathy for you because I didn't feel that before. I wouldn't understand. God, that'd be great. I want to come back, have about a 75 IQ, love Jesus, and French fries. I just want to come back a very simple person. Good night, my friend. Thanks for coming by. Good night. So listen, I just came on for a few minutes just to talk to you guys, to let you know, yeah, you're more than welcome, Duck, to send me a direct message on Instagram or YouTube, or reach out to me anytime. I literally would talk to almost anybody. I'm just always busy, just so you know. I'm always creating something, working on something, or studying law, because I'm not going to hire an attorney other than to accept paperwork and be my co-counsel. I'm not going to hire an attorney. No way. I'll hire an attorney to be co-counsel and work with me, but not to represent me in my case. No way. This is going to be my pleasure. Because when you understand tort law like I do, this is going to be so great. That great big fat guy in Virginia, Jolly Ginger, I hope you're having a good time making videos about me, brother. I hope you're having a good time. I really do. I'm not going to respond. I'm not going to respond. You're going to find out though, bro. I don't think you have any money, but what you do have, I'm going to take. That's a fact. You can't do what you've done. It's illegal. At least civilly, for sure. So I don't want to get all angry and get all... Yeah, attorneys are sworn officers of the court. That's right. And also, I can't be disbarred or get a bar violation for what I'm about to do. And if you were an attorney for what I'm about to do, you might be disbarred. You might get a bar violation. Because what I'm doing is vicious. It's vicious. You'll see. It's vicious. Anyway, I didn't want to get all sinister and show my horns. But I just want to say hello to you guys and let you guys know that we can no longer accept what's happening. We have to resist with everything that we are. Yeah, you got to flow for sure. And I've been working out like a demon. You can see it, right? I'm fit as a fiddle right now. I have been working out like a demon. Every time I can, I'm doing sprints, heavy lift, sprint, heavy lift, sprint, because that's what gets you in real fighting shape. And if you got as many threats as I did, you would get yourself in fighting shape, for sure. I'm in fighting shape. Yeah, I'm in full-on fighting shape. So, you know, I can't actually spar anybody because I can't get hurt. You know, I can't get injured right now. But you can just see it. My body is just, I mean, I'm in incredible shape from the sprinting, and then and then I do push-ups till failure, at least 100 push-ups. I've been doing 2 sets of 50 and then try to get a third set, and I get, 20 to 30, and then I'm just toast, and so I got to stop. And then I do single arm curls with a 45. I get about 5 or 6 each arm, and then I go over my head. I do the triceps, and then I sprint, and then heavy lift, sprint. Because remember, when you have to actually be physical with another person, it's a and then break, and then that's how it works. It goes in bursts, in 1-2 minute bursts. So just a very scary time for me personally, because I've had to just prepare myself for absolutely anything. God bless you. God bless Jesus. I hope that makes you happy, And I hope that Jesus is a real thing, that is a forgiving, loving entity, I'm not particularly a religious person, so I do appreciate the blessings. I'm not going to turn them down. I'll take that. You want to give me a blessing? Throw it over here. I'll take it. I'm not specifically religious. I do believe in God. I do pray to God. But I don't have a specific deity that I pray to. I was raised Catholic, and so I read the Bible at 21. And the Bible actually, I then was an atheist for 20 years. And then after that, I had an experience, and I had a moment that gave me a belief in God. And that's pretty much my story as far as religion and as far as a higher power is concerned. I just try to be as transparent as I can with people and just tell the whole truth. Because, and now I'm going to the right. I have to go get support from the right because I have to stay on the mission of overturning Terry. And I was at a Christmas party the other night with a bunch of people from the right, and they kept on talking about God and Jesus. And I finally just said, well, I'm not waiting for Jesus to do this for me. God helps those who help themselves. And so I'm going to go get this. And God and Jesus, I will take all the help I can get from you. You know? Because listen, I'm not hacking anybody's religion, anybody's perspective on Jesus or God, you know. Quit playing. Repent. I'm being honest. I'm not hacking anybody's Jesus or whatever religion you believe in. I'm not hacking what your belief system is. I just don't think it does us any good to be divisive. I don't think it helps me saying that I think this or I think that. No, man. Listen, you want to bless me from Jesus? I'll take it. You want to give me any blessing? I'll give you a blessing back, you know? So anyway, I don't want to get too lost on this subject, but anyway, so I think that's about it. You know, I just want to make sure that we all agree that we're no longer going to comply. You know? Oh, court clerk signed your search warrant? Wow. Wow. No judge's signature on that? Was there really no judge's signature on that? Thank you. I appreciate it. Was there no judge's signature on that? Is that what there was? There was no judge's signature? If there's no judge's signature on the warrant, it's an invalid warrant. That's an invalid warrant. What state are you in? See, now that I've learned how to sue people and I've learned how to sue the city, I can't wait. I can't wait. Oh, Mark, then you have to push forward on that. You have to, so there's a process, Mark. I'm not sure what city or state you're in, but the first thing you have to do is you first have to file an official complaint, right? And this is the most ironic part, is you have to file a complaint with the same city, town, borough, district, police state, police department, police state. You have to file a complaint with the same people who did you wrong. You first have to file a complaint, and then you can file a lawsuit. You know, you have to file a complaint with the police. And by the way, if you don't, like for example, there's some states that I can't sue these people for defamation because in Florida, for example, police state to us, yeah. In Florida, for example, before I sue them for defamation, I have to inform them I'm going to sue them of defamation, and then they get a chance to retract the defamatory statement or libel. No. Mm-mm. You have done lifetime damage to me and my reputation. You do not get a chance to repent because of some silly state statute. No. So I won't be suing in Florida. Absolutely not. But there's only like 3 or 4 states like that, but Florida is one of them. So you have to check upstate New York and make sure that you don't have to file a complaint with the actual state or city or borough or district or municipality before you sue them, but you can file a lawsuit against them. And you should. You should. Especially if the clerk signed your warrant and not the judge. You have every right in the world to sue them. Oh my God, the brother of the chief of the police. That reminds me of you guys hear the phone call I did with that guy, what's his name? Billy White, was that his name? The phone call I did on this channel. I think it has the most views on this channel of anything that I did besides the audit in Arizona, And, you know, I'm going to audit more cops. I just, you know, listen, I've been fighting for my sanity and for my life this past month. And so, I mean, I can't say I've been fighting for my life, but I've been fighting for my own sanity. You know, there's people who are actually fighting for their life, who are dying. And so it's not fair to say that because they're actually dying people out there. So yeah, I've been fighting for my sanity and to keep my own sense of being and to keep myself above water. You know, there's been supporters who have sent me dough so I can keep living because I haven't been able to make a living because I sell this poster in my ebook and I did it mostly on TikTok. And so, you know, it just doesn't translate over here on YouTube quite as well. You know, not as many people buy posters and ebooks from me as they do on TikTok. And so it's just been a little bit of a grind. Although a lot of people do come in from YouTube and support, and I do appreciate that. You guys should go by Delete Laws and get a copy of the poster. I got a laminated one now, and I got an indestructible paper one now. The $135 laminated one is awesome. I have 100 in stock. I think I have 94 in stock or something like that. We printed 100. And then for the indestructible paper, I think I have 92 in stock for the indestructible paper. So you guys can get it before Christmas. And then the digital poster and ebook. So I should throw that in there as much as I possibly can. So cool. If you guys have any questions, I have a new Instagram account. It's Chili De Castro _ new ACCT, new account. So, my other Instagram account, of course, was hacked by BLM. And so that account was taken down. So I would love if you guys followed my new Instagram account, Chili De Castro _ new account. And yeah, I guess that's about it for me for tonight. I gotta get up super early tomorrow. I gotta get to my storage unit. I gotta get some stuff out of there, and then I gotta get over to Phoenix and to Vegas as quickly as not Vegas, Henderson, where my family lives, and drop off those mats for my nephew for Christmas. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. And cool, man. Listen, I'm coming up on 52 minutes. I always said I would try to always spend an hour or less on YouTube. So sometimes I go a little over, sometimes I go a little under. This is great. I'm right on time here. So cool. If you guys have any questions at all for me, if I can help you in any way whatsoever, if you have any legal questions, my brain will not stop on legal stuff. So anybody sends me anything, I will research it for you. I don't charge anything at all. There's no fee to work with me. I will totally help you the best that I possibly can for free. You don't have to have any money. And I'll just research your case, tell you everything I can about it. I can't give you legal advice because I can get sued for that, but I can tell you what I think and what my perspective is. And there's nothing like, Houston versus Hill. I teach that all the time to different auditors. I talk to different people on the phone all the time about how to make sure that they can stay within the legal boundaries from my own perspective. So I just try to make sure I stay within the boundaries of the law. Because as you know, once you become a target, then you can be arrested for just absolutely anything. And so I don't want to be, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to have to get myself. Yeah, send me an email, Deborah. I would love to look into anything that you have for me to look at. And my OCD won't allow me to stop. I can't stop. So anything else for you guys? And listen, thanks you guys for letting me share a little bit of my life with you, a little bit of my time with you. I really appreciate you guys, and I got nothing but love for everybody, and I hope that you guys are doing okay. You should never give your information to the police. You should never give your information to the police on a scratch piece of paper. That information goes into a database. They don't just put that on a scratch piece of paper and then throw it away later. No. That goes into a computer and it goes into a database. You never give your information to the police. Did you guys see the video I posted on Instagram earlier? Did you guys see that video? A video I posted earlier, they pulled the veteran out when he was just sitting in front of the building, and they put him in handcuffs and put him in the back of the car, and then he gave them the code to his phone so they could check his Uber account. No, I literally lost my mind. No, you never give the police your information. Never. Get my email address from, go to deletelaws@gmail.com, deletelaws@gmail.com, or you can go to legallydeparted@gmail.com, legallydeparted@gmail.com, and that's the easiest. Those are the easiest ones to remember. Hey, Mike, how you doing, buddy? Mike sent me, I believe it was Hinkle versus Hale. Is that the one you sent me? Thank you, Justice. I appreciate that. Is that Mike? You sent me? Was that Hinkle versus Hale that you sent me? I read that case. That's crazy, dude. That's a crazy case. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Is that what it's called? Hinkle versus Hale? Am I saying that correct? I only read it once, but I want to get back into it. But I've just been, boom, got it. That's right, Mike. That's the right case. Yeah, that was pretty. Yeah, nuts, dude. Nuts. Talk about liberty stripping. Like yeah, you never give your ID. You never give the police any information about you. Never. Yeah, Hale versus Hinkle. Sorry about that. Sorry, I messed that up, Mike. Yeah, you never give the police your information unless you're being arrested and they take your ID. Do not give the police your information, ever. Never. Cops are not your friend. They're not trying to help you out, or they're helping you out of a jam. You're in the jam because they're there. If they're not there, you're not in that jam. You never give the police your information. Never. You don't tell them where you live. I made a video. I said, here's your ID card. They say, hey, is this your... Oh, they put it into a database, Psychic. They put it into a database. And then, by the way, if we go to a total tyrannical state, they take a list and they're going to go round up, you know. Yeah. 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 Well, Deborah, you have to show your license if you've broken the law. They can pull you over on a Wren stop like they did Sandra Bland, Wren versus United States from 1996. Yeah, the data collection. And Wren versus United States says that they can do a pretextual stop. Now, you can have an argument with the cop over whether or not you have to show them your ID or not, but you could get arrested if you don't show your driver's license, if you're driving the car. But if you're just sitting in the car, that's a different story. Then you don't have to show your identification because you're not driving. There's a big difference. There's a very big difference there. I've made a couple videos. If you guys haven't seen the videos I've made, I posted them here on Instagram, and I also posted them on TikTok. So you guys should definitely see those videos. I'm going to keep posting Terry videos. I got to stay on mission. I'm not going to stop. I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping. We will overturn Terry in our lifetime. Terry falls before I die. Facts. Absolute facts. All right, cool. Thank you guys for your time. I really appreciate it. You got my email, legallydeparted@gmail or deletelaws@gmail. I think I gave Deborah my email address, chili@situationcreator.com. Don't hesitate to reach out, okay? If you guys have any questions for me, Mike, you have my contact. Send me an email. And as you know, Mike, don't text me the information. Don't text me. Email me the information because my eyes are bad and I can't really read the information. Email me the information so I can read it, and then I know where to go back to look it up. And make sure you put the subject line of what the information is so I can go back and look for the subject line, okay? Hey, thank you guys. Thank you, Doc. Appreciate you. Thank you, Dr. Sean Berry. I appreciate that. Help. Let's overturn Terry. Let's get it done. All right. I'm going to get out of here. I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow or the next night, and I should be in Phoenix. All right. I'll be in Phoenix. So email me that, Mike, and I'll talk to you guys soon. All right. I'm out.